Hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod.
And we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined as always by my trusted partner, Matt Pickett. It's good to see you, Matty. How are you doing?
Good to see you too. I'm good. Those two things at the same time. I'm good and it's good to see you. I'm good to see you, Dawn.
It's a lot to process.
Yeah, no, things are good. We started watching Jeopardy with the kids at night, and so it's just coming down just before the last episode of a Tournament of Champions that we found on,
fun.
on Hulu. So they're really enjoying that. We're having a lot of fun with that. I'm in the middle of a 2-day professional development thing at work. That's really fun. I learned some cool stuff today about the work that I do. And it's freaking cold here, and we're buried in the snow still, which is crazy. But then, you know, on Pack a Day, Dusty was mentioning how rough the snow is where he is, and he's just an hour south of me or so. And so it's like, oh, I thought we had it kind of bad here. He's got it bad. Like their kids, he said that the kids had like 8 days off of school in a row.
What?
Bananas. I mean, our kids had 3 days off last week, and that seemed like a lot. So I can't imagine 8 days of being with kids inside.
It's called summer, but they're not inside in summer, I guess.
Yeah, they can get out. They can get out in the summer and go to the pool. So very, very different sort of vibe. But this is all to say, Dawn, man, life is good. I'm feeling good. How about you?
Yay. Well, I apologize. I had no idea that weather was still a thing. I knew it was last week, but I'm like, I have not even heard much about that. My sister said something about snow in Wisconsin a few days ago, several days ago. But yeah, I'm just living here in summer all the time. So I'm sorry about that. I was complaining because it was too hot, because we had a 2-day Santa Ana, which is desert heat, comes this way. Usually we have the ocean keeping it cool. So it was outside of my comfort zone one day. So it was 79. I was upset.
It was 79.
I'm like, oh, it's so hot.
Where you grew up in Wisconsin, like Racine, right?
Yes.
I don't know if this was the case for you because you're close to the lake, but
yes,
more inland by Madison, where I grew up, you get the corn humidity. Do you know about this?
No, I know the lake affect snow, but
that's a different thing. Yeah,
this
is corn effect humidity. So yeah, if you're around a lot of cornfields, because the corn emits a lot of moisture into the air, it'll cause like regionalized, like localized high humidity zones. And so this would happen in Little Oregon, Wisconsin, and we'd be out because we had a summer marching band, which I've probably mentioned before in the show here. So doing summer marching band on the parking lot of the high school. So you have the heat coming up. Corn sweats, that's right. Our friend Iowa Joe is contributing. I believe that is what it's called, is corn sweats.
I love that.
I know, right? And it was just like all of the heat and stifling humidity, and you're out there, toting a trombone around and marching, and man, that's like the sweatiest you can get right there. So
so sweaty. Okay, so
that it's like it feels like 103 degrees once all of that like piles.
Yeah, because the humidity.
79 is too hot.
I know, and we also benefit from not having humidity here. Generally, I mean, we can get like storms up from Mexico, and that'll bring like the tropical storms. So. We get real whiny about that too. It's like, it's so humid and cold. Otherwise, it's a dry Mediterranean. But corn sweats, I mean, I've heard of meat sweats. But yeah, okay, corn sweat. So can you get corn sweats in the winter?
No, because
like, does it cause it to rain? So it has to be growing.
Yeah, because it's like the corn as it's like, blooming, blossoming.
Okay.
When it's detasseling season,
I just love it. And hi, True North, and hi, Joe. Wow, the useless things you learn.
When you can't. I know at this point, I'm not going to hang the silly banner up behind me. I'm just going to keep this going for the bit. Or one of these days, I'll just break it on and do it. I mean, the flag's right there, and the clips.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, it's been a week without football, so that's kind of different, right, for us because we're a football podcast. But it's not been horrible. I mean, I've gotten a few extra things done and made good use of my time, which I will be able to do after the Super Bowl too, for the next however many months until we have football again, which is really kind of sad and depressing. Are you feeling a little bit of that? How about you guys in the chat? Are you feeling a little bit of that sad, like depressing, the season is over feeling, and maybe our team didn't meet the expectations? Well, how you feeling, everybody? How you feeling, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I'm past that. Like, I definitely felt that, like I'll still watch football after the Packers are out. And I definitely watch non-Packers games throughout the season.
Right.
But that sort of, that emotion that you have to kind of process and get through, that moment that you're talking about, Dawn, it's like, oh yeah, that's weeks ago for me at this point,
Okay, you've moved on. Okay.
I mean, at this point, it's just like, oh, it'd be fun to watch the Super Bowl. It's a couple of good teams. I do like the Seahawks, I like what they are this year. As I mentioned, I'm past my hatred of the Seahawks from like the 2010s.
Right.
This is a fun team. They're fun to watch. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a good game, an amazing halftime show. I think it will be really great. And should be a good time. I mean, I was going to ask you, Don. So, in terms of Super Bowl, where are you going to watch it? Who are you watching with? What are you doing?
I haven't decided. I tend to like to watch the more. I'm getting more like this instead of less like this over the years as I watch football. I really prefer to watch it by myself because I like to see everything, and I think. I mean, unless we do something here on my floor in my apartment, I don't know that I really want to go out. Yeah, I've had a lot going on this week and I do next week. So I'm just not so sure I want to expend a whole lot of extra energy.
Yeah. Well, going out kind of a drag. I feel like it's like, I don't want to be around a crowd when I'm trying to actually focus on the game. And
yeah, for sure. And I know my mom and my sister and some others have shared, their plans, and I think it's really great. But I don't know. I have been watching the Seahawks. Of course, I get their games because I'm on the West Coast, right? So I get to see the Rams and the Seahawks and the Chargers and the Cardinals more than most people like your part of the country. So, even from the very beginning of the year, I was thinking they were going to probably do very well this year, and they sure did. Yeah. And so I don't mind seeing that. I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm rooting for Sam Darnold because he did seem to have like that, I don't know, can I say this out loud? He seemed to have like a choking issue. When he under pressure, he would choke, and but he was really good. Like he was always a really good quarterback, except for those pressurized moments. And so I will have to say, I thought about this today. I think I will feel really bad if that happens to him with him this time. And so I'm really rooting for him, and I'm curious. I don't think it will happen, and I'm curious what kind of like coaching and exercises a player would do to manage that. Like, is it meditation? Is it prayer? I mean, is it yoga? I'm just curious.
Or psychologist, maybe
psychology, all of the above. I'm really hoping that when Sam Darnold does win the Super Bowl on Sunday, I'm hoping that he'll share that with us. I do think he's been much, criticized, and I don't know that I was vocal about it out loud, but in my mind it's like, yeah, he's kind of a choker. So when the Vikings gave him up, I could see why, but also I think it's funny because
yes, it is.
Because it's like Vikings made another mistake. Oh boy. So that's kind of fun, like a side benefit of why I'm rooting for him.
Oh, and me too. Exactly. It's the funniest thing to me if he goes and wins the Super Bowl right after the Vikings, like, let him go. They're like, oh no, we've got 9. We're good. Like, no, you're not good. He's not 9. Good. You should have held on
No.
to Sam Darnold. He took you guys to, like, what was it, like 14 wins, last season? It was crazy. Like, what are you guys doing? And that's how you get fired as a GM. And I would never have wanted anyone to lose their job, That includes Rich Bisaccia, which is a whole nother story. But Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, right? I especially want him to keep his job because I feel like he would do things that would help other teams. So, definitely don't want him to lose his job.
Right.
But hilarious if Sam Darnold, and his team, it's a team sport, win the Super Bowl. It'd be great.
It's funny you say that because I do have some input about that. I kind of had a little bit of, hey, Schadenfreude is fun. Let's just face it, isn't it? So. It's time for this week's Superlatives.
Sneak attack. Dawn. I had no warning that was coming.
Okay, it just reminded me of a superlative that I have. So
that's why you hit it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so one of my simple pleasures. I don't know if it was last. Yeah, I guess it would be in the last week because I have seen you in a week. So sometime in the last 6 days. My first one's going to go to most balance. And this is Kwesi, KOC, and the Wilfs.
Wilfs?
The Wilfs. Do you know who the Wilfs are?
No. What does it stand for, Don?
The Wilfs are the owners of the Vikings.
Oh, that's like an actual last
Their name. And it's so funny because I was watching a podcast or watching whatever about football a few weeks ago, and there's a player with the last name of Wilf.
Okay.
And the guys were making fun of his name mercilessly, and then it's like, oh, that's the bad. Okay, all right. So I did some searching around just for fun about what the heck is going on over there, because was it really Kwesi's decision? Was it KOC? So I stumbled upon a podcast called Purple Daily. Now, I'm just going to put it out there. I hate purple. Okay. I really hate purple. It's like my least favorite. But I really enjoyed a few of their episodes. But there's one that I'm just going to mention here that they went through this whole question about whether it was KOC who misread leadership, temperament, and readiness. And it seems like he did. And although it might seem like easy to say, okay, this was the GM's decision, KOC has a lot of sway in that building, especially regarding quarterbacks.
Yeah, so like the quarterback whisperer, like this.
He's supposed to be, magical. But he's also yes. He's also referred to lovingly, especially now, as the quarterback killer. So which is it? Is he a quarterback killer? He even acknowledged that people are calling him that. So I'm not so sure this is all on Kwesi. And I don't think we'll ever know. But so what they mentioned here is that raw talent can't be coached for a quarterback-centric head coach, right? That's the core job. But raw talent can't be coached. Mechanics can be fixed. But emotional regulation, maturity, and command of the room, those are harder to fake and harder to teach. And you mentioned 9, right? The crazy 9 thing. So if the quarterback you backed is a hot mess, that's not just bad luck, that's a miss in evaluation philosophy. So this is from Vikings fans. And so the question is, did KOC misevaluate Darnold? And did they misevaluate 9? Now I forgot his name because we're calling him
JJ
9.
McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy. So so it might not be as obvious as some people think. Because they took so long, like they took 4 weeks to evaluate whether or not to stay with Kwesi. So I don't think we can assume that it was a slam dunk in any way. So what this tells me, it's going to put an awful lot of pressure on KOC. And I will say that the last thing I'm going to say about this is I mentioned it on this podcast at least one time that I noticed. For me, it was glaringly obvious that there is a very uncomfortable body language dynamic between KOC and JJ.
Oh,
yes, they did not seem simpatico. JJ was, it seemed like JJ was trying to have a good relationship with his coach, and his coach was disgusted with him. That was my impression. It was some pretty weird body language. I started noticing it after JJ that week he came off of, he had not maternity leave. He missed like one practice. He had a baby, which probably wasn't the smartest time to have a baby.
Yeah, like you can't always plan when it's going to happen, but
you can't always plan it. But I thought that was not the smartest decision on his part. Like maybe just wait until like our perfect Jordan Love and his wife, they're having their baby in April. It's perfect, right?
It is perfect. Yes.
You got to think these through. You're making $50 million as a quarterback. You might want to I don't know. That was my thought back then. And then I saw the body language. And then I think it was, didn't JJ get hurt in that first game back? It was just a mess. It was a mess. So anyway, yeah, they can, I really think it's going to be hard. This upcoming season is going to be really hard on KOC. He's going to have to prove that he really is a quarterback whisperer, not a quarterback killer. What do you think?
That's so hard because these organizational decisions are complex and there's so much stuff behind the scenes we don't know. But in the end, in a situation like this where they let go of Darnold and then he goes and might win a Super Bowl, someone has to fall on a sword. And if people in the building don't already don't like Quase, looking to get him somehow because he took that time off for paternity leave, even though he was working the whole time.
Right.
Suddenly he has a target on his back. So
somebody did. Yeah.
I mean, like I said before, I'm sad to see him go because I thought that he was not the best general manager, and that's what you want on a rival team. But yeah, it feels like he's the scapegoat, to me.
It does to me too. And I think it was Tom Pellisario, if I'm not mistaken, said, I was listening to him on a different podcast and they were talking about something else, but I think, and don't quote me because I could be wrong on this. I've listened to a lot of them, but I thought it was Tom who said, no, KOC and Quasey had a really good relationship. They're friends. They're literally friends. So this talk about them not getting along and there being two different factions, I mean, they might have happened the last 2 weeks because like you said, somebody has to fall on a sword. But, hey, the Vikings went out on a limb and hired someone who didn't have football experience to do this job. And I'm not sure he was totally a failure because it's not like they didn't look that bad. You know what I mean? The quarterback issue was the biggest issue. And like I say, for that reason, I think KOC is really I've been looking at him more than anything. Yeah. So, but yeah, Purple Daily is really interesting and insightful. I think I actually caught a few of their episodes.
Well, I think your point about Quasey not coming from a football background is interesting, especially this week when we've heard from Brian Gutekunst, because I felt like I will say, I was gonna say but I lose track of what does he know? What are his perceptions of things? What's his tone? It's oh yeah, his tone is mostly even almost dead. But the thing is that I found really interesting about his press conference is that there were moments that he kind of casually displayed like massive football IQ. It's yeah, of course he's really smart at football. He's a general manager of an NFL team. And I feel like you have to know so much football in addition to business and politics and all kinds of stuff. Personal politics, I don't mean the government. That to do that job effectively, you have to have all this stuff together. And, if you're coming from a non-football background, and maybe Quasey knows a lot about football, but it's maybe just not enough to make really good, effective personnel decisions,
Right. Yeah. If anything, it was a reflection of ownership who made that decision. Okay, because I don't think anyone in the building was gunning for Kwesi to be the GM of the Vikings.
Yeah, we're not having the job in the first place,
No, and I feel bad saying that because by all accounts, he's extremely smart, accomplished, and nice man. And
yeah, it was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, never like seeing somebody's head roll like that. They get fired in such a public way. So yeah. So what is Joe saying here?
A lot happening in the chat.
What's happening in the chat? Okay.
Veronica Stone was a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. I didn't know that they put her in this year apparently, but
she's so beautiful.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's head through the chat real fast here because you'd asked like, hey, so like, how you guys feeling about the end of the season, all this stuff? And so Joe said, I'm not really bummed about it. And adding a little bit, I'm not really bummed because we just started our draft previews, so football still lives for us for a while. Joe, I've got into my queue, man. I can't wait to start listening to that. I'm gonna wait till a couple more banked and just kind of like rip through them together. So looking forward to that. But of course, True North says kind of how I feel about it in a way. Football season ended 3 weeks ago for me.
Yeah,
exactly. And Joe says, "Oh, but plus baseball season is right around the corner." And True North says, "Curling season is going strong." So I love that.
And the Olympics are starting.
That's right.
The Olympics are starting. I was just reminded of. So that's kind of fun. I feel bad I about the whole Olympics because of Savannah Guthrie is not going to be there for it, and I'm just really upset about what's happening with her family right now. So there's just like, for me, kind of I don't know, it feels like February in Wisconsin, gray, even though it's not gray here. There's just like kind of a fog in the world right now, just for a minute. I'll get over it. But anyway. But I was thinking that it's like, oh, the Olympics. Oh, without Savannah, I feel bad even watching it now and enjoying it. But I'm sure she would want everybody to enjoy the Olympics too.
Yes.
Yes. Right. What do you have for your first superlative, Maddie?
Yeah, my first superlative is in a different place of the show doc than where I was. So as I scroll to it and tap it, the first one was best analysis. Okay, so there are content creators out there who are good at like laying out an argument piece by piece, doing this systematic analysis, really digging into it. And when someone makes like a hot take, I'm always very skeptical of any hot take I hear because I'm like, yeah, show me the data, So this is the kind of episode, Don, that really appeals to me. This is one that Andy Herman did. It was called "Does Brian Gutekunst's draft better than the consensus?" So he compared like what the consensus draft board would have said we should have taken at like every one of our positions where Brian Gutekunst has been, the GM doing the draft, right? So stacking, in other words, what the decisions Brian Gutekunst made versus what the board would have dictated. Because people were like, oh, he's terrible at drafting and like it doesn't do anything, right? And after kind of going, this side through all of it, in the end it really shakes out that Brian Gutekunst is like a little better than the consensus, but that's partially because like it's all a crapshoot, when only half of your first round picks, and I mean like in any given year, half their first round picks end up amounting to anything, and those are the first rounders. It is all best educated guess. So to say that, Brian Gutekunst drafted a little bit better than the consensus isn't to give a lot of like credit to the consensus draft boards, which have their use and their value, but more to say, if you even end up a little bit ahead of that, that's pretty darn good. But I just so appreciated that like careful, one thing at a time, like let's really dig into this. Let's really look at the actual facts of how this would have gone. It was good. It was really good.
I like that. I like that affirmation too, because I mean, just in general, it's really not an easy job, right? And it's not, and he's not just making totally the decision. He has an entire team of people influencing him as well as the coaches. So,
but you got to believe he has the final say. He has to take all of that in, because that's what a leader does. Takes the information, takes the different voices, takes all the input, and then has to be the person to make the decision. It's not easy.
Okay, so here's a fun superlative. This is so, I don't know, off the wall, because, I never do off the wall kind of superlatives. This is best quote.
Okay.
The quote is, they wouldn't broadcast the games if they didn't have to.
I know who said that.
It was Justis, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was like, that's pretty funny. And that might be true. And you know what? Somebody else said that back in the day.
Yeah.
The NFL commissioner from 1946 to 1959 said that exact same quote. And yeah, I looked it up. I was like, that kind of sounds familiar. It kind of sounds homey, but it kind of made me think. I thought it might have been Vince Lombardi, because remember, there's all these stories and quotes from Vince Lombardi not wanting football to become a show, and resistance to the Super Bowl and all of that. I don't know if you know about that history, but so of course Justis was talking about, he said they don't like talking to us, meaning coaches, the front office, organization,
the whole organization,
the Green Bay Packers. They don't like talking to us. They wouldn't broadcast the games if they didn't have to, in context. So Bert Bell was that NFL commissioner back in the day, just before Vince Lombardi came on the scene, busted on the scene. Bell was discussing early NFL television and broadcast policies, asserting that clubs and the league saw broadcasting primarily as a necessity tied to attendance and contractual obligations rather than a product on its own, basically implying that if the league didn't have to sell TV broadcasts for all these, business reasons, they wouldn't do it, at least at the way that they would do it at the time. So Bell was involved in the league's blackout and broadcast decisions in the early 1950s, including limiting broadcasts to protect gate receipts. So they're like, we can't sell tickets at the stadium, so we don't want it on TV, because then we don't want it on TV because people won't leave their homes and come to the games. Okay. Which of course proved to be untrue. So, because it's a whole different experience, but hey, he was doing his best. We all do. So, he was also involved with negotiating the early TV contracts, which eventually led to the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961, back in the day when I was born, to address antitrust issues stemming from pooled TV rights. So Lombardi, so I was like, well, I thought Lombardi had something to say about this. So Lombardi was famously quoted as being more concerned about the integrity of the game and his players than the hoopla around national broadcasts. So Lombardi understood the value of TV for the league, but he didn't like the idea of the game becoming a TV show. And he wanted to focus on football and winning, not commercials, ratings, and pageant. Okay, so why am I blabbing all about this? I think we talk about culture all the time. And I think if any NFL organization of the 32 that they are has this tendency, it would be the Packers. So I think Justis is right. They wouldn't talk to us if they didn't have to. And I think that is part of the, not a direct line, but it's just part of the Packers culture in general. I don't think it's true, but I do think that I think an organization, especially when you're moving, like every minute counts. Like every minute counts, every week, every day, every week. There's just so much pressure to do so many things in any given day in the NFL, as an organization, as a coach, whatever your role is. And so taking time out to talk to the press, taking time out to do all the fluff. And head coaches like Matt LaFleur does a lot of fluff. All the coaches do. I think the Lions fans in Detroit are very upset with Dan Campbell for doing too much of that, right? Oh, really? Because it does kind of take away. Yeah, I've heard about that. So it does kind of take, because he's always on commercials and whatever, but there's only so many minutes in the day, right? Yeah, so there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do, but I just thought it was kind of fun, because when he said it, I was like, that sounds so old school. Somebody else must have said that. So I did a little research, and that's what it was. So he probably didn't know it, or maybe he did. If it's Justis, he probably knew it. But
There's a good chance he did, but you don't know unless you ask, I guess. But Don, I love that connection. I never would have thought to search for it, so nice detective work there. That's great. It's also reminiscent of another thing Justis said recently that I really liked. He said trying to cover the Packers is like being a veterinarian, because you're trying to like figure out what's going on with your patient, but like they won't talk to you, because they can't. So like very similar.
That's good. That's good. I love Justis' way with words. He's very matter of fact, and he's using his words carefully. Their intent, there's a lot of intention behind them. Yeah. Cool, Maddie. What else do you have?
Well, my second superlative, most interesting listen. Oh, this was a good one, Don. This is a good one. Ooh. Okay. So sometimes your podcast feed suddenly has something that you had no idea was coming in. You can't wait to listen to it, and it really delivers. And this is a great example of that, Don. This was Matt Freilich, who is of course another one of the Pack-A-Day podcast contributors. He did an interview with the guy who is the person who runs the Packers Hall of Fame. This guy's name is Brett Hensel, and so it was like a full hour of. It's almost like if you can imagine, what would you ask to the person who's like the head curator, right, of the Packers Hall of Fame? What would you ask? Matt had like every one of those questions I could think of that I would want to ask this guy, and did a great job of like drawing out interesting answers and like get the person to like elaborate on some stuff. I feel like number one, fascinating person to talk to. They really lived up to it. They really were fascinating. Two, you don't hear that kind of stuff often in our podcast feeds. But three, like kudos to Matt. He really knocked it out of the park. He did a great job just running the interview and like making it really interesting. And
nice.
It was a great listen.
That sounds like a great listen anytime during the off season, right? So it's one of those timeless ones. I love that. Yeah. It
was really fun too, because the guy was talking a lot about how people will contact him being like, oh, I have this football artifact. I have like this 1962 team all signed to this ball, like some people think they have these like amazing treasures. And a lot of times the kind of stuff people bring to him, he's like, we have like 50 of those. Like hold on, like we're not going to take yours. Please, keep it, treasure it, within your family. But every now and then there's like the random thing that's just like so unique. You're like, oh, yeah. Like, he'll consider that and take it. Right. I can't remember what the number was though, but the amount of things that he checks out, like within a year, it was like an insane number of like different, artifacts he considers. So just to hear
kind of like Antiques Roadshow.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what a curator does. That's funny, because there's two things that I have that I'm like, I wonder if what I should do with these, because it's not like something, I don't know if my family would want this, but I was researching something that I have from the Pabst family.
Oh.
Back in the day, but that's another subject. Here's a fun comment from Joe, and this is on my last superlative. Joe said, "Oh, Dawn went a different way. I always do. You can count on that." I saw a video that was talking about NFL people listed in the Epstein files. The 3 million more documents that were just released, and the Vikings owner is one of them. Oh, so like you say, Matt, like. We always say we don't know what else is going on behind the scenes. And I will say when Kwesi was fired, that a lot of people were commenting on the weird timing of it. And so there might be a lot of different reasons. Right. We don't know.
Distraction tactics. Don, when you said that, here's a fun comment, and it was about Epstein. I was like, where are you going with that? That is the opposite of fun. But I see what you're saying. It's like, yeah, is this a distraction tactic, firing Kwesi to, draw heat potentially that could be coming to the Vikings owners? I don't know.
Well, right. Or not even just a distraction, but just like a moral choice. Like, hey, man, you're in this, your name came up here. We don't want you associated with our organization. So that's fine. But they didn't come out and say that because they wouldn't, because of legal liability and all of that. So that's that could be. That's a very good observation, Joe. I think I did heard a little bit about that, but that was a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole I'm trying to. It's hard to avoid. I'm not lying. I did listen to some podcasts about that too, especially British ones, because of Andrew and Fergie.
Oh, right.
Oh my gosh.
Learned that too. Woo.
I mean, the British podcasts are calling Fergie a little greedy little pig. So I can't say I don't enjoy that. I think it's
Sure.
funny. Yeah, well deserved.
Oh my goodness. Don, do you have
I've
another
also,
superlative? Oh, sorry,
yeah,
go
I've
ahead.
also had some fun with the coaching, with some of the coaching changes. I haven't had time. Like, I'm trying to savor this time and just be all football until after the football season is completely over. Super Bowl happens, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will get more into the coaching changes at the Packers, of course, and then some of the other ones. But I have kind of dribbled in for entertainment some coaching, changes throughout the league. And I, for some reason, got fed a fun YouTube. It's called Inside Jim Harbaugh's RV Life. And
What?
so this, yes, recreational vehicle, RV.
Yep.
This was put out by the LA Chargers. And the reason I clicked on it is because it had a photo of a RV park right on the ocean, on the Pacific Ocean. And that is not uncommon all the way from San Diego to LA. Probably not as much farther north, but tons and tons of areas where people can either tent or bring campers or whatever. And it's like, dude, so Jim Harbaugh,
Mm-hmm.
when he got the coaching job in LA for the Chargers, he drove his little camper out and he parked it in this it's very familiar to me because it's it's in Orange County in LA, right on the PCH, and he stayed there for a couple of months. And so he also and he also talks about how I think he might still have it there. I hope not after that piece. I mean, I don't know how safe it would be, but and so he also talked about how it's very helpful for him to just retreat because it's right on the ocean. So a lot of these places that we have, like we have a campground right over here, right on the ocean. And it's kind of a great way. If anything's going on, you just walk over to the ocean and sit there and look, and it's like, woo. So I can imagine how helpful that would be to him. And I forgot his defensive coordinator that he brought in. But anyway, that dude brought a camper in.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And his is like luxurious and big and all the bells and whistles, but you see Jim and the coach out there just chatting with their neighbors. And they're like, what are you doing? Like, I work for the football team. And it's kind of funny that it's in Orange County, not in LA. I don't know, maybe I'm trying to think if there are any RV parks going further north. This is very prime property, obviously. So some of them have been taken over, but I just thought it was charming and funny. And you see his RV, like they brought you through his RV, and it's like got Cheetos on the counter, and there's nothing fancy about it at all.
It's a regular guy.
It's like, God, I mean, come on, though. It's not even like what do they call it, an Airstream, and it's not like, it's like really basic. His bed wasn't made. It's a fun little clip. So it's called Inside Jim Harbaugh's RV Life. And I just kind of YouTube is great at feeding you things that you don't know you need to watch, and I did.
Thanks, the algorithm.
I love that algorithm. What else do you have, Maddie?
Well, my last superlative, Don, for this week, best reason for optimism. So, it's definitely the case that a lot of the people are saying that the team we have now is going to be pretty much the team we'll have next season because we don't have a lot of money. We don't have a first round draft pick. Like, the Packers are probably not going to draft people and then put them in right away. They don't tend to do that. There's a lot of draft and develop with a lot of their picks, of course, right? So I've been having this feeling of like, are we going to be a better team? I mean, of course, if we have people back from injuries and if we get, even marginally luckier with our injuries, like we should be better. But like, there's like the nagging feeling like, how are we going to fix stuff like cornerback or like, O-line depth or D-line, that kind of stuff. So best reason for optimism. This is Archon 14, who writes for for APC, for Acme Packing Company. Really good writer. I've shouted him out once or twice before. And so the article is, the Green Bay Packers can do as much as they want in free agency in 2026, it's more a problem of finding what to spend the money on. So I found this interesting because he got into like how you could restructure some of the contracts to free up some money. And of course, there's some people who it's very likely that you won't be around, like, your Rashawn Garys and whatnot. So just kind of like broke it down, like, here are spots and here's how they could like pull the levers to adjust stuff to free up enough money to even get like even like a Tyler Linderbaum or someone like that, if that was who they wanted to try to get as like a splash signing. If we got Tyler Linderbaum, at center, that'd be amazing, or like get some good corner out there somewhere. But so that's the second part of it, right? Like,
yeah,
we can free up the money. There's ways to do this, but we should only do this if there's somebody who's worth getting, and that's the tricky part, But like really good, like in depth without getting too technical. That's what I'm looking for, right? So it's not like overly technical, but like has a good amount of depth. Good job from Archon. I think Archon's one of those dudes who's like, undervalued. What's the word I'm looking for? Underrated is the thing.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff.
He might not be out there on podcasts as much as some of the others. Sometimes if they're just writing, it's really, it takes a lot for people to know who you are anymore in this type of media world. Yes.
Well, Archon's like such a funny, it's almost like a folk character to me because, like I said, he's not normally on podcasts. He did do an episode of Reporting is Eligible as sort of a guest host this year, but he's one of those guys who, like, the other people who are in the APC group will like mention offhand, like, oh yeah, Archon posted this thing, or like, oh, yeah, Archon said this thing in the Slack chat. Like, he gets mentioned a lot by like the Frozen Tundra Frequencies podcasts and kind of stuff peripheral to that. So he's frequently mentioned. And could probably totally hold down a podcast by himself.
Sure,
I didn't do that, but do note that our friend True North said my YouTube algorithm only ever recommends Ohana Packers clips. Says, you better believe it.
That's great. I love that. Well, I have a little bonus for us, and I just finally got around to this today. It was Green Bay Packers head coach Matt LaFleur talking about his brother Mike becoming an Arizona Cardinals head coach. It was put up by the Arizona Cardinals, and it was like all paparazzi around. It was really great, really intelligent questions, really intelligent answers. And then after I saw that, it fed me the Cardinals announcing Mike LaFleur as their head coach. And so I did watch that, and he mentioned all of his family and learned a little bit more about the LaFleur family. And it was kind of neat. It was just heartwarming. So if you need something heartwarming, go to the Cardinals channel and check out some of that material that content that they put out regarding Mike LaFleur and their new head coach there. I think that's really cool.
That is cool. Oh, I love that. This wholesome stuff.
It was great. And that's a great family. You can just tell what a lovely family they are. One of the fun quips that I can't remember which brother spoke about it, but one of the LaFleur brothers was talking about how their mother and Matt LaFleur has mentioned this, how their mom gets like really tense when their teams play one another. But he went into more detail about it, and how she, like, sometimes she'll be watching the game and then she'll have to hide in another room because she's so stressed out. And I guess she has some coaching. I forgot what it was. I think there's a lot of coaching in that family, not just the men, but the women. Yeah. So it was pretty fun and interesting. And it was just neat to see Matt LaFleur being a proud brother too.
I love that. That's cool.
Yeah, so check it out. It's on the Cardinals. Might have to watch more of the Cardinals now. I don't know what he's going to do with Kyler Murray, but Murray is talented, but he's also short. I just don't know how he can compete.
It's hard.
You know? Yeah, because you can't see. I know what it's like. You can't see things,
You can't see over the O-line. How are you going to do it? It's true. It's true.
Right. It'll be interesting what they do. And also really nice thing that Mike LaFleur mentioned was because he was with the Rams, and when I forgot their name, just can't remember, the owner of the Cardinals, the family, when the fires were happening in LA, said, hey man, and he sent his planes to pick the guys up and let them play and practice on their field. I just like that family very much. The owners, the Cardinals, I like that family very much. And he announced all the family members and each of the women, the moms, the wives, whatnot. He's like, we have some flowers for you. And they brought out flowers. It was just really nice. It was just a really classy event. So I hope he does well, but not well enough to beat us.
No, of course not. Obviously.
All right, Maddie, any final thoughts before we bring her home? Anything from the chat before we bring her home?
No, we got most of the stuff there. I mean, except for that Joe, of course, Iowa Joe says that's Iowa Hawkeyes alum Tyler Linderbaum. So anything else? I guess just Super Bowl. Whether you're somebody who wants to go to a sports bar or watch it with friends or watch it in a room by yourself, enjoy it. If you don't want to watch it all, that's cool too. Yeah. If you want to watch an alternate halftime show, don't talk to me. I don't want to hear about it. Yeah, what is amazing.
It? Yeah,
I'll just leave it at that. If you got a problem with Bad Bunny, I don't know. Think about your choices. So anyhow, no, that's about all I got for you, Don. That's about it.
All right, Maddie.
Enjoy the game. So, friends, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan or a podcast fan.
Or a podcaster.
A fan of everything. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right, because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL. We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod, and we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod.